Hello and welcome to the Korean Beauty Show podcast. I'm your host, Lauren Lee, K-beauty expert, the founder of Style Story, where you can shop, learn and explore the world of Korean beauty, and of course your guide to what is going on in the world of Korean skincare in real time. So without any further ado, let us jump into the headlines for this week's episode. This is, of course, our update episode where we run through everything that's new and trending, product reviews, our question of the week, all of that good stuff. And in the headlines this week, there were several Korean news outlets reporting that the Skinimalism trend is continuing. So this is a portmanteau of two different words. You can probably guess what they are. It is skincare and minimalism combined to give us this new word, Skinimalism. And what the reports were saying was that really what this trend is about at the moment in Korea is using 5 or less products for skincare and makeup. And they're saying that it's spreading really fast, particularly among consumers who are tired of using more than 10 skincare products in their routine after COVID-19. So a lot of the new releases at the moment are being released to really tap into this trend of consumers who want maximum effect with minimal products. So some of the keywords that are trending at the moment in the Korean beauty industry in Korea include things like multifunctional and all-in-one. I mean, obviously none of these are new concepts or new words, but historically people have kind of been happy to use bigger routines, have this real self-care moment, and sort of indulging in a multi-step routine was a part of that. I know a lot of people say that they really enjoy that part of their day. It's their winding down part. You know, it is a transition for a lot of people from the hustle and bustle of the day, running around doing a million different things, into the evening and me time and, you know, taking a moment out of the day for yourself. So this is, you know, it's not altogether new, but it's really, really trending at the moment. And we've noticed this as well, that people are looking to do more with less. I know when we were coming up with the formulas for Jellicoe's collection, this was really important as well. And there were a couple of different reasons why we decided that we really wanted to try and condense and combine skincare steps. Number one, it can get really confusing. The more products you have with all these different names and all these different uses, people get confused. Well, how do I use it? Which step in my routine do I use it in? Is it going to interact with this, that, and the other? So the confusion aspect was one reason. And also waste. That was another really big reason when we were putting our formulas together that we wanted to try and combine multiple functions into one, is so that rather than going out and buying 3 products, you could do more with less. So I think that this trend will continue. It touches on a couple of different, you know, I guess concerns that people have, that skincare users have, that people generally have about waste, about too much plastic and all of those kind of things. So that is popular at the moment in Korea. The other piece of news that I thought that some of our regular listeners might find interesting is that a group called the Skin-Based Technology Development Project Group has published a trend report, and they are analyzing the status and production performance of Korean beauty companies in Korea based on, you know, their press releases and the information that they're putting out about their products, and the export performance and individual statistics released by the MFDS, the Ministry of Food and Drug Safety. And some really interesting stats have coming out of this. What they have said, so there's a term in the Korean beauty industry in Korea, and that is the responsible seller. So in order to sell your products in Korea, you have to have nominated a company that is the responsible seller, and that is, you know, the person that will be in charge in the event of any recalls or anything like that. And it's actually required to be printed on the cosmetics packaging itself. So the number of these people has increased 24.6% in the past decade, and there are now 28,000 of them. And what this report was really taking a look at is saying that, you know, what is the sales volume that the majority of these responsible sellers are doing compared to how many new products are actually being put into the market? And essentially, the competition amongst small businesses is really what is intensifying. And they have said that they think that the biggest reason for this increase is because of how much support the Korean government is pumping into startups. The government policies, all of the things that the Korean government does collectively to encourage more people to get involved in this industry, that is responsible for this. So it's basically a 7.2 increase in the past 10 years. So there's a lot more cosmetic operators, there are more manufacturers. All of these are increasing in number basically every single year and have continued to do so for the past decade. But what they said is only 3.6 out of 10 responsible sellers on average have production performance. So they're actually putting products out into the market. So they have basically postured that this is a little bit of a problem, because even though the industry may seem on its face to be growing, in reality there could be some negative signals there that potentially the government is focusing too much on small businesses and startups and not enough on the companies that have real potential. So I thought that was a really, really interesting analysis that they did and a report that they published, because I think that this idea of government support and obviously the sheer volume of companies that are active in the local market in Korea is something that really sets Korea apart from other countries. Not all other countries. Japan has a very large number of manufacturers as well. They have a large number of cosmetic companies, but it is something that is different than what you might see in other developed countries in the Western world. Particularly in the form of government support. I know I've mentioned this before on the show, but that is one of the key reasons for Korean beauty's success, and one of the main ways that it has really just come out in front above all of these other industries from countries that have a much longer history, potentially, and a much established brand name in the global market. Because of how much the Korean government has invested into this, all of the things they do to promote the K-beauty industry, through expos, through grants of aid and things like that, is really something that, is not necessarily the case in a lot of other countries. And that has been a real winning point, and one of the reasons that the K-beauty brand, not just K-beauty, all things K, I guess we're having a bit of a K revolution at the moment. We've got K-drama, K-food, K-pop. It's a bit of a running joke amongst a lot of the expats. It's like, just whack a K on front of it, and slight exaggeration, but also it's very true. The government is, they really do. They allocate a lot of advertising spend. They take out advertising space in Times Square, in the New York Times, and big newspapers overseas to promote things like Korean beef, Korean food, like bibimbap, all of this kind of thing. So this is just another area or another industry, I guess, in which the government is also doing the same thing, but whether that's necessarily positive and necessarily beneficial for the industry as a whole, this was kind of what the report was getting at. So it's interesting, I think, and certainly a point of difference between the Korean beauty industry and other industries out there. So for this week, I have had a lot of questions of the week around Australian sunscreens. And if you don't follow me on social media, you might be like, okay, why is that? And the reason is that I am in Australia at the moment. I think I might have mentioned that on the show. I was here for a couple of different reasons. We moved warehouses. That was one of the main reasons that I needed to come over. So we were in our old warehouse in Sydney for 5 years. We have moved up to Brisbane, and that necessitated a whole lot of changes to our internal processes. We're using all new software. We've got new systems in place. We've got new people working on packing orders and whatnot. So that has taken a fair bit of my time. That is also the reason you might notice that today's episode is also late. And that's just because I'm recording from Australia. I'm out of my usual schedule. It has been an absolutely crazy week. I've literally not had much spare time at all. We also did the Australian launch last Thursday for Jellicoe's new Gelato Glaze Lip Mask, and that was very exciting. Brisbane, in case you don't know already, is actually where I was born. It's my hometown. It was the place where Style Story was founded over 10 years ago. It's crazy to think back, like when I started out, started my business journey, we were like selling at the local markets. If you're a listener from Brizzy, you might be familiar with like the Boggo Road Jail markets, the West End markets, all of those kind of ones. We used to take all of our stuff out there and, sell at the markets. This was back in the days when we used to sell Korean fashion. We used to sell dresses and shoes and jewelry as well as Kbeauty products, which is hence the name Style Story, because we wanted to give people all of the products that they would need to create their own style and, make their own story. That was the brand motto. So anyway, that was a very long time ago, but I really wanted to host the Australian launch for our new product here because it was our very first launch. We've never been able to do a live launch in Australia because of COVID restrictions. So the brand started in 2020, which was like peak COVID. I couldn't even get back to Australia for like 3 years. So this being the first time that we have launched a new product in the non-COVID times, I really wanted to come back and do that here. So we did that last week. So that was just an absolutely mammoth effort by our team as well to get that all off the ground while we were also moving. Anyway, back to the question of the week. The reason I've been getting all of these requests to review Australian sunscreens is because obviously, Korean sunscreens, none of them that I know of have ever been approved for sale in Australia. And when I come back to Australia, I'm always keen, obviously, to try everything. But I always do make sure that I use a sunscreen in Australia that has been approved for sale in the local market by our Therapeutic Goods Administration. And there are a whole bunch of reasons that I do that. It is a personal choice for me, but being very fair-skinned and obviously very prone to pigmentation, the regulations are different, basically, is what it comes down to. The standard for waterproofing for Korean sunscreens is different from Australian sunscreens. Obviously, the climate in Australia is completely different. It's a lot hotter. We sweat off a lot more things like sunscreens. So, the waterproofing standards being different, the ratings for the UVA also slightly different. And because none of the products have have submitted themselves to the testing regime here, it's just one thing that I'm like, look, when I'm back, I will just use Australian sunscreens because I know exactly what I'm getting. I'm not taking any risks. And also, selfishly, I want to see what's on the market here. I want to see how it compares. People sometimes say to me, oh, well, if Australian sunscreens are so good, why don't you just use them in Korea? Great question, and I would love to, but they're not available for sale in Korea. Again, this all comes down to cosmetic regulation. Products need to be need to adhere to the standards in whatever market they are being sold in order to be available for sale on the local market. And if they're not, then you won't be able to buy them. So a lot of Australian sunscreens aren't available for sale in the States. They're not available for sale in Korea. It's not an indictment on the product itself or a reflection on whether it's good, bad, or anything else. It literally just means that they have not been through the regulatory process to be approved for sale on the local market. That is all it means. Anytime this discussion comes up, particularly on social media, people are like, this must mean X, Y, or Z. The chemicals in it are bad, or, and it just literally has nothing to do with that. Most of the time, it's just a matter of whoever was in charge of marketing the product or selling the product in a foreign market decided, for whatever reason, that the market there is too competitive. Maybe it's just too big, or it's too hard, it's too expensive, and they just said, you know what, we're not going to bother going through that process. We just won't sell the sunscreens there. So that means that I can't get my hands on a lot of the products that are trending in Australia, in Korea, because they're not available for sale. So whenever I come back, I do like to see what's new, what's trending, the products that other people like. So a lot of people have been asking me, can you do some reviews? We want to know what are the best sunscreens. So long story really short, I will be sharing them on my social media because I've gone out and I've bought a whole heap of body sunscreens and facial sunscreens as well. And I'm going to be testing them out. So if you're interested in that, then obviously come and follow me on Instagram. I am at lauren.kbeauty. But I'm trying to pick up all of the popular brands and products that people have sort of been shouting at me to try. And I'm going to try and get through them and let you know what I think. So yeah, that's the question that I think I've been getting the most this week. Can you do this one? Can you do that one? Let me know about this, that, and the other. So hopefully I will be able to answer all of your questions doing it that way. But yeah, that in a nutshell is the reason why I don't tend to wear a whole lot of Australian sunscreens in Korea, is just because they're not that easy to get my hands on. So I basically need to stock up while I'm here and take them back with me, which I do. But throughout the COVID period, that was not possible because I wasn't going back and no one was coming to Korea. So I'm a bit out of the loop because I'm a couple of years behind. So I'm trying to catch up on that, and I will let you know how I go. All right, now on to some of our latest product reviews that our customers have been leaving on stylestory.com.au for Korean beauty products that they've picked up on our website. So the first one was for Subi's Bare Skin Balm. This was a 5-star review, and our reviewer left a very short and sharp review. She said, "One of the best cleansers I have ever used. Love it." So thank you very much for that. We've also had a new review for our 5-step Kbeauty set. So if you haven't seen these, we've just put together some little sets. They're not like 10 steps or a whole bunch of different products. It's just short ones that you can use by themselves or use and incorporate some of the other products that you're already using into them. So we've got a few of those on our website. Go and check them out if you prefer like a done-for-you solution, or if you just looking for some good value. All of our sets have a huge discount off buying the products separately. So this was for one of those, and this was a 5-star review. Our reviewer said, "Nice products. So far, I'm very happy with the products. My skin feels clean and fresh. I love the Subi oil cleanse. It's amazing how gentle it is and how well it works. The powder cleanser is lovely, but can get gritty if you don't water it down, but that's just because I have very dry eyes. The toner is very gentle and the moisturizer is nourishing. All in all, very happy with the products." So thank you very much, and really glad to hear that you're enjoying them as well. The next one was for Innisfree's Green Tea Amino Acid Foam Cleanser. So this product was the old green tea cleanser. They upgraded all of their products. They've got slightly different packaging and they have changed the names on them, just as an FYI. If you're an Innisfree fan and you're looking for some of your golden oldies or your staple products, just be aware they will look different and they might have slightly different names. So if you need any help, obviously reach out to us. If you're like, "Oh, is this my favorite cleanser?" But the slightly updated version, just reach out. We can hook you up with your favorites. They're very similar, most of them, so you don't need to stress too much. This was a 5-star review. Our reviewer said, "Love the product. It's amazing how little you need for the whole face." So very short, sharp, and to the point. And our next one is for Tosowoong's Spot Whitening Vita Clinic Cream. And our reviewer said, "Absolute game changer. This is the first product I've tried from Tosowoong, and it is so amazing. I've since bought several more to try. I'm suffering from old acne scars, post-pregnancy melasma, and general dullness caused by having 2 kids under 2 and a total lack of sleep." Gosh, yeah, say no more. I noticed a difference in my pigmentation by day 2 and by day 5. It was significant enough that my husband actually noticed and commented. When I'm home all day, I apply it a few times throughout the day in thin layers and my skin absolutely drinks it up. Totally amazing. We'll never stop using it now. I'm so glad you love that product. That I think I've said this before on the show, that it is a favorite among our team. Really beautiful product. I absolutely love it. And it does. It gives you that instant glow up. It's full of sea buckthorn. So glad that you really enjoyed that one as well. Okay, now, finally, I have some new beauty products for you. We haven't had any for a while, just while we were moving warehouses. But now that we're all set up, we're all in, ready to go, we've got a few new ones starting to trickle through. The first one is Hada Labo's Gokujyun Premium Milk. So this is not actually a K-beauty product, which might surprise you, but this whole line is really popular in Korea and it's very popular overseas as well. So this one is the milk version of their essence. So they have an essence product, and this one is a little bit more of a milky version of that, still with the 5 types of hyaluronic acid, pH balanced formula. It basically is just an extra moisturizing lotion. So if you're the kind of person that it just like wants all the moisture you can possibly get, just like hit me with a glow, then this will be a good one for you. It doesn't have any fragrances, alcohols, colorants, or anything like that. So probably also a really good fit for sensitive skin. I think I may have mentioned on the show before, but the Hada Labo essence that everyone loves, I cannot use it, even though that is totally my thing, because it breaks me out really badly, which is really disappointing. A lot of the Hada Labo ones do, unfortunately, I've found. But if that sounds like the kind of product you like and you don't have, my skin honestly does react to a lot of things. Patch test it, obviously, if you're introducing it for the first time, but these ones are very, very popular. A lot of people love them. And 1% of the profits of the sale of this product and all of the products on our website will go towards our pledge to 1% for the planet, so that you can share your love of beauty with the planet every time you shop at Style Story. And I should mention, because we have actually just renewed our pledge this year, that our 2 charities for the 2023-2024 year are: we've adopted a koala through the WWF. They have an Adopt a Koala program. So we've just adopted a koala, which we are so excited about. We got our certificate, our official adoption certificate, actually just yesterday. So that's pretty big news. We were really excited about that. And the other one is the Great Barrier Reef Foundation. And they are doing some really amazing and very critical work at Australia's Great Barrier Reef to try and replant and renew the coral that has been damaged. Coral bleaching is a really big problem. That is one of the natural wonders of the world. And because of global warming and the environmental, damage that is occurring because of that, it needs a lot of ongoing investment and work to actually help revitalize and restore it. That was a cause that is very close to my heart, but also to a lot of our customers' hearts as well. We actually did ask people, we picked a range of charities, and we were like, who would you prefer the donations to go to, obviously, because, through our revenue, 1% of the profit of our annual revenue, a minimum of 1% we have guaranteed will go towards environmental charities. Who would you prefer? And that was the number one charity that people were really keen to support. So those 2 are our charities for the year. We have adopted a koala, which is, that's really, really exciting. So thank you to everyone that has shopped with us. At the level of our donations this year would not have been possible without you. So we really do appreciate that as well. And the charities, I had a chance to speak to the Great Barrier Reef Foundation, and they were extremely appreciative. So it's good to be able to do that as well. Now, the second new product that we have is Manyo Factory's Pure Cleansing Oil. Now, you may have seen this trending on social media. This product is doing really well in the global market, and we've got the huge 400ml one, which is, a lot. A lot of cleansing oil. It's actually really heavy too. Basically perfect for your first cleanse and for helping to melt away blackheads and whiteheads. In terms of what's actually in it, it contains a range of different oils. It's got argan kernel oil, rice bran oil, jojoba oil, olive oil, camellia oil, evening primrose, lots of beautiful oils in there. So go and check that one out if you do prefer that traditional watery oil style formula. I know a lot of our customers do. Some people are balm people and some people are cleansing oil people in the traditional watery oil form. So if that sounds like you, go and check that one out. And for my recommendation of the week, for this week, I will share one of the sunscreens that I have absolutely been loving, just because what I've noticed is that, and I was speaking with a friend about this as well, another friend who's been living in Korea for nearly 10 years, and she was like, I just feel like the Korean body sunscreens, they're always too small and they're a little bit tricky to use. And, you know, she was saying you have to bring me back as many of the Australian body ones as you can, because body sunscreen in Australia is critical because you all spend so much time at the pool and the beach, and you really do need sunscreen over your whole body. So I always make sure that I have one in my handbag with me whenever I'm here, just because you definitely need to reapply your body sunscreen as well as your face sunscreen. So one that I've found that is quite pleasant to use is the Bondi Sands fragrance-free sunscreen lotion. And Bondi Sands has actually just been bought out by a much bigger company. The name escapes me. I will find it and put it in the show notes, but I think there's a chance that this may be available in other markets soon, because I think that was the point of, you know, them sort of selling to a bigger company, was so that they could expand into more markets. So this one I think is beautiful. It is a bit more watery than some of the other body sunscreens on the market. It rubs in really nicely. After a week of wearing it around and getting quite a lot of sun, I'm not noticing any difference or darkening of any of my existing sunspots or freckles or pigmentation or anything like that. My only gripe, if I had one, would be that I think it'd be nice if it was a little bit bigger, just because for a body sunscreen, you really do go through it quite quickly. If you are, you know, applying it all over your arms and legs and then reapplying as well during the day. And, you know, your arms here in Australia particularly seem to get a lot more sun than in other places. If you're driving, you've got them right up on the wheel and you get a lot more sun. So if it was a little bit bigger, that would be my only thing. But I've really enjoyed this one. I will be taking it back to Korea for friends as well, and I'm going to be taking some back for myself. So that is one recommendation for this week that I can give you. So I am flying back to Korea next week. So look, hopefully in a couple of weeks we will be back to our regular schedule. This has just been a really busy summer. It has been a very, very busy time. We have a lot going on in the business and personally as well. So look, you'll have to forgive me. We're all a little bit out of sorts. But look, if you're here, you're listening to this and you have made it this far, thank you very much. Make sure that you stay subscribed so that you don't miss the new episodes when they do drop. But look, I will be back in your ears next week. I'm not going to say which day. I've got a day flight next Monday. So look, you know, if I get my A into G in advance, like hopefully I will record in advance for you, but like I'm not going to make any promises. This is not my best week. So look, I will be back in your ears at some point next week. Please stick around until then, and look, I will see you on Style Story.